Greetings, everybody, again on this wonderful day when we're going to be continuing with reading of the Mahabharata, the great epic or the greatest epic by Sri Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa. So, in the last episode, in the last video, we finally got to the bringing down of grandfather Bhishma. He was felled, and that, of course, was a great event. And so we're continuing with the Bhishma Vadhaparva as it concludes, and then we shall be launching onto the Drona Vadhaparva. Because Drona is consecrated as the commander-in-chief of all the armies after the demise of Bhishma. Although one should remember, Bhishma has not been slain. He's only been brought down, and he's lying there on his bed of arrows. But he's forgotten about for a while the battle continues. So, Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vikantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vikamscha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudivayet Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. That is Om, hail to Almighty Vasudeva. So, chapter 975 of the Mahabharata, chapter 115 of the Bhishma Vadhaparva. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, what was the state of the warriors without Bhishma? He was powerful and was like a god. He followed Brahmacharya for the sake of his senior. When Bhishma did not strike Drupada's son because he despised him, I thought that the Kurus and the other kings had been killed. I cannot think of a greater misery. I am evil-minded, and I have heard about my father being brought down, O Sanjaya. My heart must certainly be made out of stone on hearing that Bhishma has been brought down. It is not shattered into 100 fragments. I cannot even think about Devavrata being brought down in the battle. In earlier times, he could not be slain by Jamadagni's son, despite his use of divine weapons. What did Bhishma, lion among men, and the one who desired victory, do when he had been brought down? O Sanjaya, tell me. Sanjaya replied, he was brought down on the ground in the evening. On seeing the aged grandfather of the Kurus, the sons of Dhritarashtra were distressed, and the Panchalas were delighted. He lay down on that bed of arrows without touching the ground. A sound of lamentation arose among all the beings. He was like a tree that stood at the boundary of the assembly of the Kurus, and he was brought down. O king, O lord of the earth, on seeing Bhishma, Shantanu's son, with his armor and standard shattered, the Kshatriyas in both the armies, those of the Kurus and the Pandavas, were overcome with fear. The sky was covered in darkness, and the sun lost its splendor. On seeing that Bhishma, Shantanu's son, had been brought down, the earth seemed to be shrieking. This was the best among those who were learned about the Brahman. This was the best among those who knew about the objective of the Brahman. while the bull among the Bharata lineage lay down. This was what all beings said. In earlier times, when Shantanu was overcome by desire, he followed his father's command. The bull among men held up his seed. As the middle one among the Bharata lineage lay down on the bed of arrows, this is what the rishis, the siddhas, and the charanas reflected. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, when Bhishma, Shantanu's son, and the grandfather of the Kurus, was brought down, your sons did not know what to do. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, their faces were pale and they lost all their beauty. They were overcome with great shame and their heads hung down. Having obtained victory, the Pandavas were stationed at the heads of their ranks. All of them sounded great conch shells that were decorated with gold. O unblemished one, they loudly sounded trumpets. O king, we saw the immensely strong Bhimasena in the field of battle. Kaunteya was sporting, overcome with great delight. The extremely strong one had killed many enemies in battle. The Kurus were overcome by great confusion. Karna and Duryodhana sighed repeatedly. When Bhishma, the chief among the Kauravas, was brought down, a great lamentation of weakness arose amidst all of them. On seeing that Bhishma had fallen, your son, Dushasana, used great speed and proceeded towards Drona's army. The brave and armored one and his own soldiers had been instructed by his brother, urging his own army on. That tiger among men now departed. O great king, on seeing Dushasana, the Kurus surrounded him, wishing to hear what he had to say. Kaurava informed Drona that Bhishma had been brought down. Hearing this unpleasant news, Drona suddenly fell down from his chariot. O venerable one, having regained his senses, Bharadwaja's powerful son restrained his soldiers. On seeing the Kurus withdraw, the Pandavas and their soldiers also retreated. They sent messages on swift horses to instruct the respective soldiers everywhere to refrain from fighting. The kings removed their armor and went to the spot where Bhishma was. Hundreds and thousands of warriors withdrew from the battle. They went to the great souled one, like the immortals before Prajapati. They approached the supine Bhishma, the bull among the Bharata lineage. The Kurus and the Pandavas showed him their obeisance and stood there. The Pandus and the Kurus bowed before him and stood there. The great-souled Bhishma, Shantanu's son, spoke to them. O immensely fortunate ones, welcome. O Maharathas, welcome. I am delighted to see you. You are the equals of the immortals. With his head hanging down, he greeted them. My head is hanging down. Please give me a pillow. The kings present there brought many soft and delicate pillows that were excellent, but the grandfather did not accept them. The tiger among men laughed and told those kings, hold on. O kings, these are not appropriate for a hero's bed. The best of men then saw and addressed Pandava, the Mahabharata of the worlds. O Dhananjaya, O long-armed one, My head is hanging down. Give me a pillow that you think to be appropriate. He honored the grandfather and grasped his giant bow. With his eyes full of tears, he spoke in these words. O best of the Kurus, O supreme among those who wield all weapons, command me, O invincible one, O grandfather, I am your servant. What can I do for you? Shantanu's son replied, O son, my head is hanging down. O best of the Kuru lineage, O Falguna, give me a pillow. O brave one, quickly grant me one that is appropriate for this bed. O Partha, O mighty armed one, you are the best of all archers. You know about the dharma of Kshatriyas. You possess intelligence and qualities. Having been thus addressed, Falguna quickly prepared to do as he had been instructed. He grasped Gandiva and arrows with drooping tufts. He took the permission of the great-souled one who was the middle one of the Bharata lineage. He shot 3 extremely forceful and sharp arrows and supported the head of his senior. Bhishma, the best of the Bharata lineage and learned about Dharma and Artha, was satisfied and praised Dhananjaya for having given him that pillow. Kunti's son was the best of warriors and brought delight to his well-wishers. He spoke to him, O Pandava, you have done well by giving me something that is appropriate for this bed. Had you done otherwise, I would have cursed you in rage. O mighty armed one, this is the way in which Kshatriyas should remain established in their dharma and sleep on a bed of arrows. Having spoken thus to Bibatsu, he spoke to all the kings and princes. See what Pandava has given me. I will sleep on this bed until the sun changes its path. Until it has traversed, the kings will be able to see me. When the sun goes beyond Vaishravana's direction and the supremely energetic rays scorch the world from his chariot, I will give up my life like a well-wisher who takes leave from a beloved one. O kings, let a ditch be dug around the spot where I am. Pierced by 100 arrows, I will worship the sun. O kings, abjure the enmity and give up this battle. Many physicians came to him, those who were skilled in the knowledge of uprooting stakes. They possessed every kind of implement and were skilled and well trained. On seeing them, Janavi's son spoke these words. Honor the physicians. Give them what needs to be given and let them go. I have been reduced to this state. What do I have to do with physicians? I have attained the supreme state that is praised by those who follow the dharma of Kshatriyas. O lords of earth, when I am lying on a bed of arrows, this should not be my dharma now. O lords of men, I should be immolated with these arrows on my body. Having heard these words, your son Duryodhana honored the physicians in accordance with what they deserved and gave them permission to leave. The lords of the different countries were overcome with great wonder. They beheld the supreme dharma on which the infinitely energetic Bhishma was established. O Lord of men, having given a pillow to your father, all the Mahabharata Pandavas and Kurus again approached the great souled one, supine on that supreme bed. Having bowed before Bhishma, they circumambulated him. Having arranged for Bhishma's protection, all those brave ones went to their own camps in the evening and reflected in great misery. With bodies covered in blood, they retired. The Mahabharata Pandavas were delighted at Bhishma's downfall. At the appropriate time, Yadava approached the Mahabharata Pandavas and spoke to Yudhishthira, Dharma's son. "O Kauravya, it is through good fortune that you have been victorious. It is through good fortune that Bhishma has been brought down. The Mahabharata was devoted to the truth and could not be slain by humans. He was skilled in the use of all weapons. O Partha, this was destiny. He could kill with his eyes. He could burn down with his terrible sight." Thus addressed, Dharma Raja replied to Janardana, "We have obtained victory through your favors. Your wrath is defeat. O Krishna, you are our refuge. You assure your devotees freedom from fear. O Keshava, it is not extraordinary that those whom you always protect in battle should be victorious. You are always devoted to our welfare. We always seek refuge with you. It is my view that this is not extraordinary at all." Having been thus addressed, Janardana smiled and said, "O supreme among kings, the words that you have spoken can only come from someone like you." Or maybe you want to go now, Karno? That was quite a long one. That'll be section
That wasn't
123.
really that long, but
Yeah,
anyway,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah,
two of
yeah.
us. There's two of us. We can just go back and forth. Can't I? Are you there?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, there's quite a few chapters to the next arbor, isn't there?
Yeah. So 22 now,
All right.
I think.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me okay? Does it sound all right?
Yep.
Sounds fine.
Okay.
Sounds fine.
All right, cool. Grand. Here we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Actually, you're going to start on chapter 23 because
What?
chapter section 20, 123 because 21 and 22 here were all included in one chapter.
Oh, is that so? I'm on 23.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sanjay said after the night had passed away.
that's
Is
correct.
it that?
Yes.
Okay. Sanjay said, after the night had passed away, O monarch, all the kings, the Pandavas and the Dhritarashtra's repaired to the grandsire. Those Kshatriyas then saluted that bull of their order, that foremost one among the Kurus, that hero lying on a hero's bed, and stood in his presence. This is the Ganguli translation, by the way. Maidens by thousands, having repaired to that battle, to that place, gently showered over Shantanu's son powdered sandalwood and fried paddy and garlands of flowers, and women and old men and children and ordinary spectators all approached Shantanu's son like creatures of the world desirous of beholding the sun. And trumpets by hundreds and thousands, and actors and mimes and skilled mechanics also came to the aged Kuru grandsire, and ceasing to fight, putting aside their coats of mail and laying aside their weapons, the Kurus and the Pandavas, united together, came to the invincible Devavrata, that chastiser of foes. And they were assembled together as in days of old, and cheerfully addressed one another according to their respective ages. And that conclave full of Bharata kings by hundreds, and adorned with Bhishma, looked beautiful, and blazing like a conclave of the gods in heaven. And that conclave of kings engaged in honoring the son of Ganga looked as beautiful as a conclave of the celestials engaged in adorning their lord, grandsire. Bhishma, however, O bull of Bharat's race, suppressing his agonies with fortitude, though burning with arrows, still sticking to his body, was sighing like a snake. His body burning with these arrows, and himself nearly deprived of his senses in consequence of his weapon wounds. Bhishma cast his eyes on those kings and asked for water. Then those Kshatriyas, O king, brought thither excellent viands and several vessels of cold water. Beholding that water brought for him, Shantanu's son said, I cannot, O sire, now use any article of human enjoyment. I am removed from the pale of humanity. I am lying on a bed of arrows. I am staying here, expecting only the return of the moon and the sun. Having spoken these words and thereby rebuked those kings, O Bharata, he said, I wish to see Arjuna. Then the mighty armed Arjuna then came there, and reverentially saluting the grandsire stood with joined hands and said, What shall I do? Beholding then that son of Pandu, O monarch, thus standing before him, after having offered him respectful salutations, Bhishma of righteous soul cheerfully addressed Dhananjaya, saying, Covered all over with thy shafts, my body is burning greatly. All the vital parts of my body are in agony. My mouth is dry. Staying as I am with body afflicted with agony, give me water, O Arjuna. Thou art a great bowman. Thou art capable of giving me water duly. Valiant Arjuna then, saying, So be it, mounted on his car, and striking his Gandiva with force, began to stretch it. Hearing the twang of his bow and the slap of his palms, which resembled the roar of the thunder, the troops and the kings were all inspired with fear. Then that foremost of car warriors, mounted on his car, circumambulated that prostrate chief of the Bharatas, that foremost of all wielders of weapons. Aiming then a blazing arrow, after having inspired it with mantras and identified it with the Parjanya weapon, in the very sight of the entire army, the son of Pandu, Partha, pierced the earth a little to the south of where Bhishma lay. Then there arose a jet of water that was pure and auspicious and cool, and that resembling the nectar itself was of a celestial scent and taste. And with that cool jet of water, Partha gratified Bhishma, that bull among the Kurus, of godlike deeds and prowess. And at that feat of Partha, who resembled Shakra himself in his acts, all those rulers of earth were filled with great wonder. And beholding that feat of Vibhatsu, implying superhuman prowess, the Kurus trembled like kine afflicted with cold. And from wonder, all the kings were present. All the kings there present waved their garments in the air. And loud was the blare of conches and the beat of drums that were then heard all over the field. And Shantanu's son, his thirst quenched, then addressed Jishnu, O monarch, and said, applauding him highly in the presence of all those kings, these words, O thou of mighty arms, this is not wonderful in thee. Ah, O son of Kuru's race, O thou of immeasurable effulgence, even Narad spoke of thee as an ancient rishi. Indeed, with Vasudeva as thy ally, thou wilt achieve many mighty feats, which the chief of the celestials himself, with all the gods, of a certainty will not venture to achieve. They that have knowledge of such things know thee to be the destroyer of the whole Kshatriya race. Thou art the one bowman among the bowmen of the world. Thou art the foremost among men, as human beings are in this world foremost of all creatures, as Garuda is the foremost of all winged creatures, as the ocean is the foremost among all receptacles of water, and the cow among all quadrupeds. As the sun is the foremost among all luminous bodies, and Himavat among all mountains, as the Brahmana is the foremost among all castes, art thou the foremost of all bowmen. Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, listened not to the words repeatedly spoken by me and Vidura and Drona and Rama and Janardana and also by Sanjaya. Bereft of his senses, like unto an idiot, Duryodhana placed no reliance on those utterances. Past all instructions, he will certainly have to lie down forever, overwhelmed by the might of Bhima. Hearing these words of his, hearing these words of his, the Kuru king Duryodhana became of cheerless heart. Eyeing him, Shantanu's son said, "Listen, O king, abandon thy wrath. Thou hast seen, O Duryodhana, how the intelligent Partha created that jet of cool and nectar-scented water. There is none else in this world capable of achieving such feat. The weapons of appertaining to Agni, Varuna, Soma, Vayu, and Vishnu, as also those appertaining to Indra, Pasupati, and Paramesti, and those of Prajapati, Tartri, Tashtri, Savitri, and Vivasvat. All these are known to Dhananjaya alone in this world of men. Krishna, the son of Devaki, also knoweth them, but there is none else here that knoweth them. This son of Pandu, O sire, is incapable of being defeated in battle by even the gods and the asuras together. The feats of this high-souled one are superhuman. With that truthful hero, the ornament of battle, that warrior accomplished in fight, let peace, O king, be soon made. As long as the mighty armed Krishna is not possessed by wrath, O chief of the Kurus, it is fit, O sire, that peace should be made with the heroic Parthas. As long as this remnant of thy brothers is not slain, let peace, O monarch, be made. As long as Yudhishthira, with eyes burning in wrath, doth not consume thy troops in battle, let peace, O sire, be made. As long as Nakula and Sahadeva and Bhimasen, the sons of Pandu, do not, O monarch, exterminate thy army, it seems to me that friendly relations should be restored between thee and the heroic Pandavas. Let this battle end with my death, O sire. Make peace with the Pandavas. Let these words that are uttered to thee by me be acceptable to thee, O sinless one. Even this is what I regard to be beneficial both for thyself and the race itself of Kuru. Abandoning thy wrath, let peace be made with the Parthas. What Falguni hath already done is sufficient. Let friendly relations be restored with the death of Bhishma. Let this remnant of warriors live. Relent, O king. Let half the kingdom be given to the Pandavas. Let King Yudhishthira the just go to Indraprastha. O chief of the Kurus, do not achieve a sinful notoriety among the kings of the earth by incurring the reproach of meanness, becoming a fomenter of intestine dissensions. Let peace come to all with my death. Let these rulers of earth cheerfully mix with one another. Let sire get back the son. Let sister's son get back the maternal uncle. If from want of understanding and possessed by folly, thou dost not hearken to those timely words of mine, thou wilt have to repent greatly. What I say is true. Therefore, desist even now, having from affection said these words unto Duryodhana in the midst of the kings. The son of the ocean-going Ganga became silent. Though his vital limbs were burning with the arrow wounds, yet, prevailing over his agonies, he applied himself to yoga. Sanjaya continued. Having heard these beneficial and peaceful words fraught with both virtue and profit, Thy son, however, accepted them not, like a dying man refusing medicine.
Yeah, carry on. Read the last one.
Section 24. Sanjaya said, after Shantanu's son Bhishma, O monarch, had become silent, all those rulers of earth, there present, then returned to their respective quarters. Hearing of Bhishma's slaughter, that bull among men, Radha's son, Karna, partially inspired with fear, quickly came there. He beheld that illustrious hero lying on his bed of reeds. Then Vrisha, Karna, endued with great glory, with voice choked in tears, approaching that hero lying with eyes closed, fell at his feet, and he said, O chief of the Kurus, I am Radha's son, who, while before thy eyes was everywhere looked upon by thee with hate. Hearing these words, the aged chief of the Kurus, son of Ganga, whose eyes were covered with film, slowly raising his eyelids, and causing the guards to be removed, and seeing the place deserted by all, embraced Karna with one arm, like a sire embracing his son, and said these words with great affection. Come, come, thou art an opponent of mine who always challengest comparison with me. If thou hadst not come to me, without doubt it would not have been well with thee. Thou art Kunti's son, not Radha's, nor is Adhirata thy father, O thou of mighty arms. I heard all this about thee from Narada, as also from Krishna Dwaipayana. Without doubt, all this is true. I tell thee truly, O son, that I bear thee no malice. It was only for abating thy energy that I used to say such harsh words to thee. O thou of excellent vows, without any reason thou speakest ill of all the Pandavas. Sinfully didst thou come into the world. 'Tis for this that thy heart hath been such. Through pride, and owning also to thy companionship with the low, thy heart hateth even persons of merit. 'Tis for this that I spoke such harsh words about thee in the Kuru camp. I know thy prowess in battle, which can with difficulty be borne on earth by foes. Born with E on the end, meaning carried. I know also thy regard for Brahmanas, thy courage, and thy great attachment to almsgiving. O thou that resemblest a very god, amongst men there is none like thee. For fear of intestine dissensions, I always spoke harsh words about thee. In bowmanship, in aiming weapon, in lightness of hand, and in strength of weapons, thou art equal to Falguni himself, or the high-souled Krishna. O Karna, proceeding to the city of Kashi, alone with thy bow, thou hadst crushed the kings in battle for procuring a bride for the Kuru lineage, for the Kuru king. The mighty and invincible King Jarasandha, also ever boastful of his prowess in battle, could not become thy match in fight. Thou art devoted to Brahmanas, thou always fightest fairly. In energy and strength, thou art equal to a child of the Celestials, and certainly much superior to men. The wrath I cherished against thee is gone. Destiny is incapable of being avoided by exertion. O slayer of foes, the heroic sons of Pandu are thy uterine brothers. If thou wishest to do what is agreeable to me, unite with them, O thou of mighty arms, O son of Surya. Let these hostilities end with me. Let all the kings of earth be today freed from danger. Karna said, I know this, O thou of mighty arms. All this without doubt is as thou sayest. As thou tellest me, O Bhishma, I am Kunti's son, and not the son of a suitor. I was, however, abandoned by Kunti, and I have been reared by a suitor. Having so long enjoyed the wealth of Duryodhana, I dare not falsify it now. Like Vasudeva's son, who is firmly resolved for the sake of the Pandavas, I also, O thou that makest profuse presents to Brahmanas, am prepared to cast away my possessions, my body itself, my children, and my wife, for Duryodhana's sake. Death from disease, O thou whose race doth not become a Kshatriya. Relying upon Suryodhana, I have always offended the Pandavas. This affair is destined to take its course. These affairs are destined to take the course, or this affair is destined. Yeah. It is incapable of being prevented. One was there that would venture to overcome. Who was there that would venture to overcome destiny by exertion? Various omens indicating the destruction of the earth, O grandsire, were noticed by thee and declared in the assembly. It is well known to me that the son of Pandu and Vasudeva are incapable of being conquered by other men. Even with them we venture to fight. I will vanquish the son of Pandu in battle. Even this is my firm resolve. I am not capable of casting off this fierce animosity that I cherish against the Pandavas. With a cheerful heart, and keeping the duties of my order before my eye, I will contend against the Dhananjaya. Firmly resolved that I am on battle, grant me thy permission, O hero. I will fight, even if this is my wish. It behoveth thee to forgive me also any harsh words that I may have at any time uttered against thee, or any act that I may have done against thee from anger or inconsiderateness. Bhishma said, if indeed thou art unable to cast off this fierce animosity, I permit thee, O Karna, fight, moved by the desire of heaven, without anger and without vindictiveness. Serve thou the king according to thy power and according to thy courage, and observant of the conduct of the righteous. Having then my permission, O Karna, obtain thou that which thou seekest. Through Dhananjaya thou wilt obtain all those regions hereafter which are capable of being had by fulfilling the duties of a Kshatriya. Freed from pride, and relying on thy own might and energy, engage in battle, since a Kshatriya cannot have a source of greater happiness than a righteous battle. For a long while I made great efforts for bringing about peace, but I succeeded not, O Karna, in the task. Truly do I say this unto thee. Sanjaya continued. After the son of Ganga had said this, Radha's son, Karna, having saluted Bhishma and obtained his forgiveness, got up on his car and proceeded towards the quarters of thy son. That's the end of the chapter.
Thus ends Bhishma Parva.
Ah.
Very good. So
That was a huge, big. How many days or sessions was Bhishma Parva?
10 days of war, and it took us, well, you remember Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
That was the beginning of Bhishma Parva.
Wow.
So we've been on it since then.
Okay. Now this is Drona Parva.
Drona Parva, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll read the introductory notes here, Debroy, and then I think I'll continue on with Ganguli's. So Drona Parva continues with the account of the war. After Bhishma's fall, Drona is instated as the commander of the Kaurava army, and some of the most ferocious fighting takes place in Drona Parva, when Drona is the commander for 5 days, days 11 to 15. The highlights of Drona Parva are the deaths of sworn warriors, Abhimanyu, Jayadratha, and Gatotkacha. In the 18 Parva classification, Drona Parva is the 17th. In the 100 Parva classification, Drona Parva covers sections 65 through 72. Drona Parva has 173 chapters. In the numbering of the chapters in Drona Parva, the first number is the consecutive one starting with the beginning of the Mahabharata. The second number, within parentheses, is the numbering of the chapter within Drona Parva. So section 65, Drona Abhishek Parva. So this is a section within Drona Vardha Parva. There's sub-Drona Parvas. So the first one is Drona Abhishek Parva. This Parva has 634 shlokas and 15 chapters. Abhisheka means instatement or consecration, as the Parva is named after Drona's consecration as the supreme commander. After the consecration, this section also describes the 11th day of the battle. Drona promises to capture Yudhishthira alive. Despite of a lot of fighting, nothing of great significance occurs on the 11th day, though Drona kills some Panchala warriors. So, back in Ganguli, section 1 of Drona Parva. So you've got again here. This Parva has, in this edition, Om Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Janame Jaya se. Hearing that his sire, Devabrata, of unrivaled vigor and sturdiness and might, energy and prowess, had been slain by Sikandi, the prince of the Panchalas, what indeed, O regenerate Rishi, did the powerful king Dhritarashtra, with eyes bathed in tears, do? O illustrious one, his son, Duryodhana, wished for sovereignty after vanquishing those mighty bowmen, sons of Pandu, through Bhishma and Drona and other great Ka warriors. Tell me, O thou that hast wealth of asceticism, all that he of Kuru's race did after that chief of all bowmen had been slain. Vaishampayana said, hearing that his sire had been slain, King Dhritarashtra of Kuru's race, filled with anxiety and grief, obtained no peace of mind. And while he of Kuru's race was thus continually brooding over that sorrow, Gavalgana's son, that's Sanjaya, of pure soul, once more came to him. Then, O monarch, Dhritarashtra, who had that night come back from the camp to the city, called after the elephant. So he went back to the battlefield for a little while, and he's come back that night. Dhritarashtra said, after having wept for the high-souled Bhishma of terrible prowess, what, O son, did the Kauravas, urged by fate, next do? Indeed, when that high-souled and invincible hero was slain, what did the Kauravas do? Sunk as they were in an ocean of grief. Indeed, that swelling and highly efficient host of the high-souled Pandavas would, O Sanjaya, excite the keenest fears of even the three worlds. Tell me, therefore, O Sanjaya, what the assembled kings did after Devavrata, that bull of the Kuru's race, had fallen. Sanjaya said, Listen, O king, with undivided attention to me as I recite what thy sons did after Devavrata had been killed in battle. When Bhishma, O monarch, of prowess incapable of being baffled, was slain, thy warriors, as also the Pandavas, both reflected by themselves on the situation. Reflecting on the duties of the Kshatriya order, they were filled with wonder and joy. But acting according to those duties of their own order, they all bowed to that high-souled warrior. Then those tigers among men contrived for Bhishma of immeasurable prowess a bed with a pillow made of straight shafts, and having made arrangements for Bhishma's protection, they addressed one another in pleasant converse. Then, bidding Ganga's son their farewell, and walking round him, and looking at one another with eyes red in anger, those Kshatriyas, urged by fate, once more went out against one another for battle. Then, by the blare of trumpets and the beat of drums, the divisions of thy army, as also those of the foe, marched out after the fall of Ganga's son, O king, when the best part of the day had passed away, yielding to the influence of wrath, with hearts afflicted by fate, and disregarding the words worthy of acceptance of the high-souled Bhishma, those foremost ones of Bharata's race went out with great speed, armed with weapons. In consequence of thy folly, and of thy sons, and of the slaughter of Santanu's son, the Kauravas with all the kings seemed to be summoned by death himself. The Kurus, deprived of Devavrata, were filled with great anxiety, and resembled a herd of goats and sheep without the herdsman in a forest abounding with beasts of prey. Indeed, after the fall of that foremost one of Bharata's race, the Kuru host looked like the firmament divested of stars, or like the sky without the atmosphere, or like the earth with blasted crops, or like an oration disfigured by bad grammar, or like the Asura host of old after Vali had been smitten down, or like the beautiful damsel deprived of husband, or like a river whose waters have been dried up, or like a roe deprived of her mate and encompassed in the woods by wolves, or like a spacious mountain cave with its lion killed by a Sarabha. Footnote. Sarabha is a fabulous animal of 8 legs, supposed to be stronger than a lion. End of footnote. Indeed, O chief of the Bharatas, the Bharata host on the field of Ganga's son became like a frail boat on the bosom of the ocean, tossed by a tempest, blowing from every side, exceedingly afflicted by mighty and heroic Pandavas of sure aim. The Kaurava host, with its steeds, car warriors, and elephants, much troubled, became exceedingly distressed, helpless, and panic-stricken. And the frightened kings and the common soldiers, no longer relying upon one another, of that army, deprived of Devavrata, seemed to sink into the nethermost region of the world. Then the Kauravas remembered Karna, who indeed was equal to Debabrata himself. All hearts turned to that foremost of all wielders of arms, that one resembling a great resplendent with learning and ascetic austerities. In all hearts turned to him, as the heart of a man in distress turneth to a friend capable of relieving that distress. And oh, Bharata, the kings then cried out, saying, Karna, Karna, the son of Radha, our friend, the son of Asuka, that one who is ever prepared to lay down his life in battle, endued with great fame, Karna, with his followers and friends, did not fight for these 10 days. Oh, summon him soon, the mighty armed hero, in the presence of all the Kshatriyas, during the mention of valiant and mighty Ka warriors, was by Bhishma classed as an Ardha Ratha, means a half a Ratha, although that bull among men is equal to 2 Maharathas. Even thus, he was classed during the counting of Rathas and Atirathas that is foremost of all Rathas and Atirathas, that he is respected by all heroes, that he would venture to fight even with Yama, Kuvera, Varuna, and Indra. Through anger caused by this, O king, he had said unto Ganga's son these words, As long as thou livest, O thou of Kuru's race, I will never fight. If thou, however, succeedest in slaying the sons of Pandu in great battle, I shall, O Kaurava, with Duryodhana's permission, retire into the woods. If, on the other hand, thou, O Bhishma, slain by the Pandavas, attainest to heaven, I shall then, on a single car, slay all of them whom thou regardest as great warriors. Having said this, mighty armed Karna of great fame with thy son's approval did not fight for the first 10 days. Bhishma of great prowess in battle and of immeasurable might slew, O Bharata, a very large number of warriors belonging to Yudhishthira's army. When, however, that hero of sure aim and great energy was slain, thy sons thought of Karna, like persons desirous of crossing a river thinking of a boat. Thy warriors and thy sons, together with all the kings, cried out, saying, Karna! And they all said, even if even this is the time for the display of his prowess. Our hearts are turned to that Karna, who deprived his knowledge of weapons from Jamadagni's son, who derived his knowledge of weapons from Jamadagni's son, Parashuram, and whose prowess is incapable of being resisted. He indeed, O king, is competent to save us from great dangers, like Govinda, always saving the celestials from great dangers. Vaishampayana continued. Unto Sanjaya, who was thus repeatedly applauding Karna, Dhritarashtra, sighing like a snake, said these words. Dhritarashtra said, I understand that the hearts of all of you are turned toward Vikartana's son Karna, and that all of you saw that son of Radha, that hero of the super caste, ever prepared to lay down his life in battle. I hope that hero of prowess incapable of being baffled did not falsify the expectations of Duryodhana and his brothers, all of whom were then afflicted by grief and fear and desirous of being relieved from their danger. When Bhishma, that refuge of the Kauravas, was slain, could Karna, that foremost of bowmen, succeed in filling up the gap caused, filling up that gap, could Karna fill the foe with fear? Could he also crown with fruits the hopes entertained by my sons of victory? Section 2. Sanjaya said, then Adhirata's son of the Sutta caste, knowing that Bhishma had been slain, became desirous of rescuing, like a brother, thy son's army from the distress into which it had fallen, and which then resembled a boat sunk in the fathomless ocean. Indeed, O king, having heard that mighty Ka warrior and foremost of men, that hero of unfading glory, Santanu's son, had been thrown down from his car, that grinder of foes, that foremost of all wielders of bows, viz. Karna, soon came to the field of battle. When the best of Ka warriors, Bhishma, was slain by the foe, Karna speedily came there, desirous of rescuing the Kuru host, which resembled a boat sunk in the ocean, like the sire desirous of rescuing his children. And Karna, addressing the soldiers, said, that Bhishma, who possessed firmness, intelligence, prowess, vigor, truth, self-restraint, and all the virtues of a hero, as also celestial weapons and humility and modesty, agreeable speech and freedom from malice, that ever grateful Bhishma, that slayer of foes of Brahmanas, in whom were all these attributes, as permanently as lucky is in the moon, alas, when that Bhishma, that slayer of hostile heroes, hath received his quietus. I regard all other heroes as already slain. In consequence of the eternal connection of all things with work, nothing exists in this world that is imperishable. When Bhishma of high vows has been slain, who is there that would take upon himself to say with certitude that tomorrow's sun will rise? When he that was endued with prowess equal to that of the Vasus, he that was born of the energy of the Vasus, when he, that ruler of the earth, hath once more been united with the Vasus, grieve ye therefore for your possessions and children, for this earth and the Kurus and this host. Sanjaya continued, upon the fall of that boon-giving hero of great might, that lord of the world, Santanu's son of great energy, and upon the consequent defeat of the Bharatas, Karna, with cheerless heart, eyes filled with tears, began to console the Dhartarashtras. Hearing these words of Radha's son, thy sons, O monarch, and thy troops, began to wail aloud and shed copious tears of grief corresponding with the loudness of those wails. When, however, the dreadful battle once more took place, and the Kaurava divisions, urged on by the kings, once more set up loud shouts, that bull among mighty Ka warriors, Karna, then addressed the great Ka warriors of the Kaurava army and said words which caused them great delight. In this transient world, everything is continually flitting towards the jaws of death. Thinking of this, I regard everything as ephemeral. When, however, all of you were here, how could Bhishma, that bull among the Kurus, immovable as a bull, as a hill, be thrown down from his car, when that mighty car warrior, the son of Shantanu, hath been overthrown, who even now lieth on the ground like the sun himself dropped from the firmament? The Kuru kings are scarcely competent to bear Dhananjaya, like trees incapable of bearing the mountain wind. I shall, however, now protect this, as that high-souled one did, this helpless Kuru host of cheerless mien, whose foremost warriors have already been slain by the foe. Let this burden now devolve on me. I see that this universe is transient, since that foremost of heroes hath been slain in battle. Why shall I then cherish any fear of battle? Coursing, therefore, from the field, I shall dispatch those bulls of the Kuru's race, the Pandavas, to Yama's abode by means of my straight shafts. Regarding fame as the highest object of the world, I shall slay them in battle, or shall sleep on the field. Yudhisthira is possessed of firmness, intelligence, virtue, and might. Vrikodara is equal to 100 elephants in prowess. Arjuna is young and is the son of the chief of the Celestials. The Pandavas' host, therefore, is not capable of being easily defeated by the very Celestials. That force in which are the twins, each resembling Yama himself, that force in which are Satyaki and the son of Devaki, that force is like the jaws of death. No coward approaching it can come back with life. The wise oppose swelling ascetic power with ascetic austerities. So should force be opposed by force. Verily, my mind is firmly fixed upon opposing the foe and protecting my own party. O charioteer, I shall today certainly resist the might of the enemy and vanquish him by repairing only to the field of battle. I will not tolerate this intestine feud. When the troops are broken, he that cometh for aiding in the endeavor to rally is a friend. I shall achieve either this righteous feat worthy of an honest man, or casting off my life shall follow Bhishma. I shall either slay all my foes united together, or slain by them proceed to the regions reserved for heroes. O charioteer, I know that even this is what I should do when women and children cry for help, or when Duryodhana's prowess sustains a check. Therefore I shall today conquer the foe, reckless of my very life in this terrible battle. I shall protect the Kurus and slay the sons of Pandu. Slaying in battle all my foes banded together, I shall bestow undisputed sovereignty on Dhritarashtra's son. Let my armor, beautiful, made of gold, bright and radiant with jewels and gems, be donned, and my headgear of effulgence equal to that of the sun, and my bows and arrows that resemble fire, poison, or snakes. Let also 16 quivers be tied to my car at the proper places, and let a number of excellent bows be procured. Let also shafts and darts and heavy maces, and my conch, variegated with gold, be got ready. Bring also my variegated, beautiful, and excellent standard, made of gold, possessed of the effulgence of the lotus, and bearing the device of the elephant's girth. cleaning it with a delectable, delicate cloth, and decking it with excellent garlands of the network of wires. O charioteer, bring me also with speed some fleet steeds of the hue of tawny clouds, not lean, and bathed in waters sanctified with mantras, and furnished with trappings of bright gold. Bring me also with speed an excellent car, decked with garlands of gold, adorned with gems, bright as the sun or the moon, furnished with every necessary, as also with weapons, and unto which are yoked excellent animals. Bring me also a number of excellent bows of great toughness, and a number of excellent bow strings, capable of smiting the foe, and some quivers, large and full of shafts, and some coats of mail for my body. Bring me also with speed, O hero, every auspicious article needed for occasions of setting out for battle, such as vessels of brass and gold, full of curds. Let garlands of flowers be brought, and let them be put on the proper limbs of my body. Let drums also be beaten for victory. Go, O charioteer, quickly to the spot where the diadem-decked Arjuna and Vikrodara and Dharma's son Yudhisthira and the twins are. Encountering them in battle, either I shall slay them, or being slain by them, my foes, I shall follow Bhishma, Arjuna, and Vasudeva, and Satyaki, and the Srinjayas. That force, I think, is incapable of being conquered by the kings. If all-destroying death himself with unremitting vigilance were to protect Kiriti, still I shall slay him, encountering him in battle, or repair myself to Yama's abode by Bhishma's tract. Verily I say that I will repair into the midst of those heroes. Those kings that are my allies are not provokers of intestine feuds, or of weak attachment to me, or of unrighteous souls. Sanjaya continued. Last paragraph, get ready, Karnai. Riding on an excellent and costly car of great strength, and with excellent pole, decked with gold, auspicious, furnished with a standard, and unto which were yoked excellent steeds that were fleet as the wind, Karna proceeded to battle for victory. Worshipped by the foremost of Guru Ka warriors, like Indra by the celestials, that high-souled and fierce bowman, endued with immeasurable energy, like the sun himself, upon his car, decked with gold and jewels and gems, furnished with an excellent standard, unto which were yoked excellent steeds, and whose rattle resembled the roll of the clouds, proceeded, accompanied by a large force, to that field of battle where that bull of Bharata's race, Bhishma, had paid his last debt to nature. A beautiful person, and endued with the splendor of fire, that great bowman and mighty car warrior, the son of Adhirata, then mounted on his own beautiful car, possessed of the effulgence of fire, and shone like the Lord of the Celestials himself on his celestial, riding on his celestial car.
Can you remind me just the main things that were just going on, please? Is that all right?
Well, not really.
Well, all right.
They're all in a panic about having lost Bhishma, and Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra what they proceed to do.
Yeah.
Right,
And
so
Karna's just gotten.
well, they all suddenly turned their minds to Karna. Everyone's going, Karna, Karna. And so it's decided
All right.
Karna, and he
Yeah.
get go out for battle, which is where you're going to pick it up.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. Chapter 3. Sanjaya said, "Beholding the grandsire is the venerable Bhishma, that destroyer of all the Kshatriyas, that hero of righteous soul and immeasurable energy, that great bowman thrown down from his car by Savisachin with his celestial weapons, lying on a bed of arrows and looking like the vast ocean dried up by mighty winds. The hope of thy sons for victory had disappeared along with their coats of mail and peace of mind. Beholding him who was always an island unto persons sinking in the fathomless ocean in their endeavours to cross it, beholding that hero covered with arrows, that had coursed in a stream as continuous as that of the Jamuna, that hero who looked like Minaka of unbearable energy thrown down on the earth by the great Indra, that warrior lying prostrate on the earth like the sun dropped down from the firmament, that one who looked like the inconceivable Indra himself after his defeat of old by Vritra, that depriver of all warriors of their senses, that foremost of all combatants, that signal of all bowmen, beholding that hero and bull among men is thy sire Bhishma of high vows, that grandsire of the Bharatas thrown down in battle and lying covered with Arjuna's shafts on a hero's bed. Adidata's son, Karna, alighted from his car in great affliction, filled with grief and almost senseless, afflicted with sorrow and with eyes troubled with tears, he proceeded on foot. Saluting him with joined palms and addressing him reverentially, he said, I am Karna. Blessed be thou. Speak to me, O Bharata, in sacred and auspicious words, and look at me, opening thy eyes. No man certainly enjoyeth in this world the fruits of his pious deeds, since thou, reverend in years and devoted to virtue, liest slain on the ground. O thou that art the foremost one amongst the Kurus, I do not see that there is any one else among them who is competent like thee in filling the treasury, in councils, in matter of disposing the troops in battle array and in the use of weapons. Alas, he that was endued with a righteous understanding, he that always protected the Kurus from every danger, alas, he, having slain numberless warriors, proceedeth to the region of the Pitris. From this day, O chief of the Bharatas, the Pandavas, excited with wrath, will slaughter the Kurus like tigers slaying deer. Today, the Kauravas, acquainted with the force of Gandiva's twang, will regard Sabyasachin like the Asuras regarding the wielder of the thunderbolt with terror. Today the noise, resembling that of heaven's thunder, of the arrows shot from Gandiva, will inspire the Kurus and other kings with great terror. Today, O hero, like a raging conflagration of fierce flames consuming a forest, the shafts of Kiritin will consume the Dhartarashtras. In those parts of the forest through which fire and wind march together, they burn all plants and creepers and trees. Without doubt, Partha is even like a surging fire, and without doubt, O tiger among men, Krishna is like the wind. Hearing the blare of Panchajanya and the twang of Gandiva, all the Kaurava troops, O Bharata, will be filled with fear. O hero, without thee, the kings will never be able to bear the rattle of the ape-bannered car belonging to that grinder of foes, when he will advance upon them. Who amongst the kings, save thyself, is competent to battle with that Arjuna, whose feats, as described by the wise, are all superhuman? Superhuman was the battle that he fought with high-souled Mahadeva of 3 eyes, From him he obtained a boon that is unattainable by persons of unsanctified souls. Delighted in battle, that son of Pandu is protected by Madhava. Who is there that is competent to vanquish him who could not be vanquished by thee before? Although thou, endued with great energy, hadst vanquished Rama himself in battle, that fierce destroyer of the Kshatriya race, worshipped, besides, by the gods and the Danavas. Incapable of putting up with that son of Pandu, that foremost of heroes in battle, even I, with thy permission, am competent to slay, with the force of my weapons, that brave and fierce warrior who resembleth a snake of virulent poison, and who slayeth his foes with his glances alone. Chapter 4. Sanjaya said, unto him who was talking thus, the aged Kuru grandsire, with a cheerful heart, said these words, adapted to both time and place. Like the ocean unto rivers, like the sun unto all luminous bodies, like the righteous unto truth, like a fertile soil unto seeds, like the clouds unto all creatures, be thou the refuge of thy relatives and friends. Like the celestials upon him of a thousand eyes, let thy kinsmen depend on thee. Be thou the humiliator of thy foes, and the enhancer of the joys of thy friends. Be thou unto the Kauravas as Vishnu unto the dwellers of heaven, desirous of doing what was agreeable to Dhritarashtra's son. Thou didst with the might and prowess of one's own arms, O Karna, vanquish the Kamvojas, having proceeded to Rajpura. Many kings, amongst whom Najit was the foremost, while staying in Girivraj, as also the Ambashtas, the Videhas, and the Gandharvas, were all vanquished by thee. The Kiratas, fierce in battle, dwelling in the fastness of Himavat, were formerly, O Karna, made by thee to own Duryodhana's sway. And so also the Utpalas, the Mekalas, the Paundras, and the Kalingas, and the Andhras, the Nishadas, the Trigartas, and the Valikas, were all vanquished by thee, O Karna, in battle. In many other countries, O Karna, impelled by the desire of doing good to Duryodhana, thou didst, O hero, vanquish many races and kings of great energy. Like Duryodhana, O child, with his kinsmen and relatives and friends, be thou also the refuge of all the Kauravas. In auspicious words I command thee, go and fight with the enemy. Lead the Kurus in battle and give victory unto Duryodhana. Thou art to us our grandson, even as Duryodhana is. According to the ordinance, all of us also are as much thine as Duryodhana's. The wise, O foremost among men, say that the companionship of the righteous with the righteous is a superior relationship to that born of the same womb. Without falsifying, therefore, thy relationship with the Kurus, protect thou the code of a host like Duryodhana, regarding it as thy own. Hearing these words of his, Vikarta's son, Karna, reverentially saluting Bhishma's feet, bade him farewell, and came to that spot where all the Kaurava bowmen were. Viewing that wide and unparalleled encampment of the vast host, he began to cherish, by words of encouragement, those well-armed and broad-chested warriors. And all the Kauravas headed by Duryodhana were filled with joy. And beholding the mighty armed and high-souled Karna come to the field and stationed himself at the head of the whole army for battle, the Kauravas received him with loud shouts and slapping of armpits and leonine roars and twang of bows and divers other kinds of noise. Chapter 5. Sanjaya said, beholding that tiger among men, viz. Karna, mounted on his car, Duryodhana, O king, filled with joy, said these words: This host, protected by thee, hath now, I think, got a proper leader. Let that, however, be settled now which is proper and within our power. Karna said, Tell us thyself, O tiger among men, for thou art the wisest of kings. Another can never see so well what should be done as one seeth it whose concern it is. Those kings are all desirous of listening to what thou mayest have to say. I am sure that no improper words will be uttered by thee. Duryodhana said, Bhishma was our commander, possessed as he was of years, prowess, and learning, and supported by all our warriors. That high-souled one, O Karna, achieving great glory in slaying large numbers of my enemies, protected us by fair fight for 10 days. He achieved the most difficult of feats. But now that he is about to ascend to heaven, whom, O Karna, dost thou think fit to our commander after him? Without a leader, an army cannot stay in battle for even a short while. Thou art foremost in battle, like a boat without a helm's. Thou art foremost in battle, like a boat without a helmsman in the waters. Indeed, as a boat without a helmsman, or a car without a driver would go anywhere, so would the plight be of a host that is without a leader. Like a merchant who falleth into every kind of distress when he is unacquainted with the ways of the country he visits, an army that is without a leader is exposed to every kind of distress. Look thou, therefore, among all the high-souled warriors of our army, and find out a proper leader who may succeed the son of Shantanu, him whom thou wouldst regard as a fit leader in battle, him all of us, without doubt, will together make our leader. Karna said, All these foremost of men are high-souled persons. Every one of them deserveth to be our leader. There is no need of any minute examination. All of them are conversant with noble genealogies, and with the art of smiting. All of them are endued with prowess and intelligence. All of them are attentive and acquainted with the scriptures, possessed of wisdom, and unretreating from battle. All, however, cannot be leaders at the same time. Only one should be selected as leader, in whom are special merits. All of these regard one another as equals. If one amongst them, therefore, be honoured, others will be dissatisfied, and, it is evident, will no longer fight for thee from a desire of benefiting thee. This one, however, is the preceptor in arms of all these warriors, is venerable in years and worthy of respect. Therefore, Drona, this foremost of all wielders of weapons, should be made the leader. Who is there worthy of becoming a leader when the invincible Drona, that foremost of persons conversant with Brahma, is here? That one who is equal to Shukra of Brihaspati himself. Amongst all the kings in thy army, O Bharat, there is not a single warrior who will not follow Drona when the latter goeth to battle. This Drona is the foremost of all leaders of forces, the foremost of all wielders of weapons, and the foremost of all intelligent persons. He is, besides, O king, thy preceptor in arms. Therefore, O Duryodhana, make this one the leader of thy forces without delay, as the Celestials made Kartikeya their leader in battle for vanquishing the Asuras. That's the end of that chapter. I'll read a chapter or two more. They're all quite short chapters now. I'll go, talk about 22:9. Chapter 6. Sanjaya said, hearing these words of Karna, King Duryodhana then said this unto Drona, who was staying in the midst of the troops. Duryodhana said, for the superiority of the order of thy birth, for the nobility of thy parentage, for thy learning, years, and intelligence, for also thy prowess, skill, invincibility, knowledge of worldly matters, policy, and self-conquest, by reason also of thy aesthetic austerities, and thy gratitude, superior as thou art as regards every virtue. Among these kings there is none who can make so good a leader as thou. Protect thou, therefore, ourselves, like Vasava protecting the celestials. Having thee for our leader, we desire, O best of Brahmanas, to vanquish our foes. As Kapali amongst the Rudras, Pavaka among the Vasus, Kuvera among the Yakshas, Vasava among the Maruts, Vashishta among Brahmanas, the sun amongst luminous bodies, Yama among the Pitris, Varuna among aquatic creatures, as the moon among the stars, and Usanas among the sons of Diti. So art thou, the foremost of all leaders of forces. Be thou, therefore, our leader. O sinless one, let these 10 and 1 Akshohinis of troops be obedient to thy word of command. Disposing these troops in battle array, slay thou our foes, like Indra slaying the Danavas. Proceed, thou art the head of us all, like Pavaka's son, Kartikeya, at the head of the celestial forces. We will follow thee to battle, like bulls following a bovine leader. A fierce and great bowman as thou art, beholding thee stretching the bow at our head. Arjuna will not strike. Without doubt, O tiger among men, if thou becomest our leader, I will vanquish Yudhishthira with all his followers and relatives in battle. Sanjaya continued. After Duryodhana had uttered these words, the kings in the Kaurava army all cried victory to Drona, and they delighted thy son by uttering a loud leonine shout. And the troops, filled with joy, and with Duryodhana at their head, desirous of winning great renown, began to glorify that best of Brahmanas. Then, O king, Drona addressed Duryodhana with these words. Chapter 7. Drona said, I know the Vedas with their 6 branches. I know also the science of human affairs. I am acquainted also with the Shaiva weapon, and diverse other species of weapons. Endeavouring to actually display all those virtues which ye, desirous of victory, have attributed to me, I will fight with the Pandavas. I will not, however, O king, be able to slay the son of Prishata. O bull among men, he hath been created for my slaughter. I will fight with the Pandavas, and slay the Somakas. As regards the Pandavas, they will not fight with me with cheerful hearts. Sanjaya continued. They will not fight with me with cheerful hearts. Sanjaya continued. Thus permitted by Drona, the sun, O king, then made him the commander of his forces according to the rites prescribed in the ordinance. And the kings in the Katirava army, headed by Duryodhana, performed the investiture of Drona in the command of the forces, like the celestials headed by Indra in days of yore performing the investiture of Skanda. After Drona's installation in the command, the joy of the army expressed itself by the sound of drums and the loud blare of conches. Then, with cries such as greet the ears on a festive day, with auspicious invocations by Brahmanas, gratified with cries of Jaya, uttered by foremost of Brahmanas, and with the dance of mimes, Drona was duly honoured. And Kaurava warriors regarded the Pandavas as already vanquished. Sanjaya continued. Then that mighty Ka warrior, viz. Bharadwaja's son, having obtained the command, arrayed the troops in order of battle, and went out with thy sons from desire of fighting the foe. And the ruler of the Sindhus and the chief of the Kalingas and thy son Vikarna, clad in mail, took up their position on the right wing of Drona. And Sakuni, accompanied by many foremost of horsemen battling with bright lances and belonging to the Gandhara tribe, proceeded, acting as their support. And Kripa, and Kritivarman, and Chitrasen, and Vivinchati, headed by Dushasana, strove vigorously for protecting the left wing. And the Kambojas, headed by Sudakshina, and the Shakas, and the Yavanas, with steeds of great fleetness, proceeded as the latter's support. And the Madras, the Trigartas, the Amvashtas, the Westerners, the Northerners, the Malavas, the Surasenas, the Sudras, the Maladas, the Sauviras, the Kaitavas, the Easterners, and the Southerners, placing thy son Duryodhana, and the Suta's son Karna at their head, forming the rear guard, gladdened the warriors of their own army, added to the strength of the advancing force. Vikartana's son Karna proceeded at the head of the bowmen, and his blazing and large and tall standard, bearing the device of the elephant's rope, shone with an effulgence like that of the sun, gladdening his own divisions. Beholding Karna, none regarded the calamity caused by Bhishma's death, and the kings, along with the Kurus, all became freed from grief. And large numbers of warriors, banded together, said unto one another, Beholding Karna on the field, the Pandavas will never be able to stand in battle. Indeed, Karna is quite competent to vanquish in battle the very gods with Vasava at their head. What need be said, therefore, for the sons of Pandu who are destitute of energy and prowess? The mighty armed Bhishma spared the partisan battle. Karna, however, will slay them in the fight with his keen shafts. Speaking unto one another thus, and filled with joy, they proceeded, applauding and worshipping the son of Radha. As regards our army, it was arrayed by Drona in the form of a Sakata vehicle, while the array of our illustrious foes, O king, was in the form of the Krancha, the crane. As disposed, O Bharata, by King Yudhisthira, the just, in great cheerfulness. At the head of their array were those two foremost of persons, viz. Vishnu and Dhananjaya, with their banner set up, bearing the device of the ape. The hump of the whole army and the refuge of all bowmen, that banner of Bharata, endued with immeasurable energy as it floated in the sky, seemed to illumine the entire host of the high-souled Yudhisthira. The banner of Bharata, possessed of great intelligence, seemed to resemble the blazing sun that riseth at the end of the Yuga for consuming the world. Amongst bowmen, Arjuna is the foremost. Amongst bows, Gandiva is the foremost. Amongst creatures, Vasudeva is the first. And amongst all kinds of discs, Sudarshana is the first. Bearing these four embodiments of energy, that car, onto which were yoked white steeds, took up its position in the front of the hostile army, like the fierce discus upraised for striking. Thus did those two foremost of men stand at the very head of their respective forces, viz. Karna at the head of thy army, and Dhananjaya at the head of the hostile one. Both excited with wrath, and each desirous of slaying the other, Karna and Arjuna looked at each other in that battle. Then when that mighty Ka warrior, viz. Bharadwaja's son, proceeded to battle with great speed, the earth seemed to tremble with loud sounds of wailing. Then the thick dust, raised by the wind resembling a canopy of tawny silk, enveloped the sky and the sun, and though the firmament was cloudless, yet a shower fell of pieces of flesh, bones and blood, and vultures and hawks and cranes and kunkkas and crows in thousands began to continually to fall upon the Kodava troops, and jackals yelled aloud. Many fierce and terrible birds repeatedly wheeled to the left of thy army, from desire of eating flesh and drinking blood, and many blazing meteors illuminating the sky and covering large areas with their tails fell on the field with loud sound and trembling motion. And the wide disk of the sun, O monarch, seemed to emit flashes of lightning with thundering noise. And the commander of the Kodava army set out. These and many other portents, fierce and indicating a destruction of foes, were seen during the battle. Then commenced the encounter between the troops of the Kurus and the Pandavas, desirous of slaying each other, and so loud was the din that it seemed to fill the whole earth. The Pandavas and the Kauravas, enraged with each other and skilled in smiting, began to strike each other with sharp weapons from desire of victory. Then that great bowman of blazing effulgence rushed towards the troops of the Pandavas with great impetuosity, scattering hundreds of sharp arrows. Then the Pandavas and the Srinjayas, beholding Drona rush towards them, received him, O king, with showers upon showers in distinct sets of arrows. Agitated and broken by Drona, the large host of the Pandavas and the Panchalas broke like rows of cranes by force of the wind, invoking into existence many celestial weapons in that battle. Drona, within a very short time, afflicted the Pandavas and the Srinjayas, slaughtered by Drona, like Danavas by Vasava. The Panchalas, headed by Drishtadyumna, trembled in that battle. Then that mighty car warrior, viz. Yasena's son, Drishtadyumna, that hero acquainted with celestial weapons, broke with his arrowy showers the division of Drona in many places, and the mighty son of Prishata, baffling with his own arrowy showers the showers of arrows shot by Drona, caused a great slaughter among the Kurus. The mighty armed Drona then, rallying his men in battle and gathering them together, rushed towards the son of Prishata. He then shot at Prishata's son a thick shower of arrows, like Maghavat, excited with rage, showering his arrows with great force upon the Danavas. Then the Pandavas and the Srinjayas, shaken by Drona with his shafts, repeatedly broke like a herd of inferior animals attacked by a lion. And the mighty Drona coursed through the Pandava force like a circle of fire. All this, O king, seemed highly wonderful, mounted on his own excellent car, which then resembled a city coursing through the skies, which was furnished with every necessary article according to military science, whose banner floated on the air, whose rattle resounded through the field, whose steeds were well urged, and the staff of whose standard was bright as crystal. Drona struck terror into the hearts of the enemies and caused a great slaughter among them.
Well read. Well read.
Wait, I'll
Thanks.
read one more. Yeah. I'm going reverting to Debroy's edition now. It's interesting to note there that the chapter divisions were all over the place there in the books, but it's back on sync now. So this is chapter 984 of Mahabharata and chapter 7 of the Drona Abhishek Parva. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Sanjaya said, on seeing Drona slaughter the horses, chariots, rathas, and elephants, the Pandavas were distressed and surrounded him. King Yudhishthira spoke to Dhristadyumna and Dhananjaya. Make endeavors to counter the one who was born from pot and surround him. Arjuna and Parshva, with their followers, surrounded him together with all the Maharathas, the Kekayas, Bhimasena, Subhadra's son, Gatotkacha, Yudhishthira, the twins, Matsya, Drupada's son, Draupadi's cheerful sons, Drishtaketu, Satyaki, the enraged Chekitana, and Maharata Yuyutsu. O king, there were many other kings who followed the Pandavas. In accordance with their lineage and their valor, they performed many deeds. On seeing that the army of the Pandavas was thus protected in battle, Bharadwaja's son glanced at them with anger in his eyes. He was stationed on his chariot, invincible in battle, and was overcome by terrible rage. He pierced the Pandava army like the wind scattering the clouds. He attacked the chariots, horses, men, and elephants in every direction. Though he was old, Drona roamed around like a mad young man. His horses were crimson in colour and were as fleet as the wind. They were covered in blood. O king, those horses assumed a beautiful appearance. On seeing that angry one, rigid in his vows, descend like death, the Pandava warriors fled in every direction. Some fled in fright, others returned. Some glanced at him, and an extremely dreadful noise arose, causing delight among brave ones and leading to fright among those who are cowards. This completely filled the space between the sky and the earth. Yet again, Drona announced his name in the battle. He shot hundreds of arrows at the enemy and assumed a dreadful form. Though he was aged, the powerful Drona acted like one who was young. The intelligent one was like death amidst the Pandava soldiers. The fierce one sliced off the heads and the arms with their ornaments. The Maharata rendered the chariots empty and roared. O Lord, because of his roars of delight and because of the force of his arrows, the warriors trembled and trembled in the field of battle like cattle because of the winter. As a result of the roar of Drona's chariot, the stretching of his bowstring, and the sound of his bow, a great sound arose in the sky. Many thousands of arrows were released by him. They covered all the directions and descended on the elephants, the horses, and the chariots. His extremely forceful bow was like the fire with arrows as its flames. The Panchalas and the Pandavas attacked Drona, but he dispatched the Rathas, elephants and horses to Yama's abode. In a short while, Drona covered the earth with the mud of blood. He showered supreme weapons and arrows in every direction. Drona covered the directions with his net of arrows, and nothing could be seen. Foot soldiers, chariots, horses, and elephants were shrouded, and his standard could be seen roaming around like a cloud tinged with lightning. With the bow and arrows in his hand, Drona used arrows to penetrate the 5 brave ones from Kekaya and the king of Panchala, and then attacked Yudhishthira's army. Bhimasena, Dhananjaya, Shini's grandson, Satyaki, Drupada's son, Shibi's son, the lord of Kashi, and Shibi were delighted. They roared and covered him with a large number of arrows. They were assailed by arrows released from Drona's bow. These were coloured and gold-tufted. They pierced the bodies of elephants and young horses and penetrated the ground. The tufts covered with blood. The earth was strewn with large numbers of warriors, chariots, elephants, and horses, mangled by the arrows. They fell down on the ground and looked like dark clouds in the sky. Desiring the prosperity of your sons, Drona crushed the armies of Shini's descendant, Bhima, Arjuna, Shibi, Abhimanyu, the king of Kashi, and many other brave ones in that battle. O Indra among Kauravas, the great-souled one, performed this and many other deeds in the battle, O king, having scorched the world like the sun at the time of destruction. Drona went to heaven. On his golden chariot, the brave one killed hundreds and thousands of Pandava warriors in the battle and was brought down by Parshva. He killed more than 2,000 Akshohinis, or brave ones, who never retreated. After that, the wise one attained the supreme objective. O king, the one on the golden chariot performed extremely difficult deeds and was then killed by the Pandavas and the Panchalas, the performers of auspicious and inauspicious and cruel deeds. O king, when the preceptor was killed in the battle, there was a roar among the beings in the firmament and also among the soldiers. This resounded in heaven, the earth, the sky, the directions and the subdirections was heard among all the beings, the gods, the ancestors, and all those who were his relatives saw that Bharadwaja's Mahabharata son was slain. Having obtained the victory, the Pandavas roared like lions. The earth trembled because of that loud roar. I think I should actually read the next one because that might have confused, you might be confused there. He's narrated already how Drona is killed. Dhritarashtra asked, chapter 985, part 8. Dhritarashtra asked, how could the Pandavas and the Srinjayas kill Drona in battle? Among those who wielded all weapons, he was extremely skilled. Did his chariot break? When he was striking, did his bow shatter? Was Drona distracted? And was that the reason for his death? O son, how could Parshata slay him? He was incapable of being oppressed by enemies. He showered large numbers of gold-tufted arrows. Foremost among Brahmanas possessed dexterity of hand. He was accomplished and colourful in fighting. He could shoot from a great distance. He had self-control. He was skilled in war. The Mahabharata was undecaying and supreme. He was careful and performed terrible deeds in battle. It must be destiny that Panchala's son killed him. It is my view that it is manifest that destiny is superior to human endeavor. The brave Drona has been killed by the great soul Parshata. The 4 types of weapons were established in the brave one. The preceptor Drona knew supreme weapons and has been slain. He used to be on a golden chariot, covered with the skins of tigers and decorated with pure gold. On hearing that he has been killed, I am now overcome with sorrow. O Sanjaya, no one dies because of the hardship that someone else faces. On hearing that Drona has been slain, I am dead, although I am alive. My heart is made out of hard stone. Despite of learning that Drona has been killed, it is not shattered into 100 parts. He was worshipped by Brahmanas, princes, who desired the qualities of knowledge of the Brahman, the Vedas, weapons. How could he have been taken away by death? This is like the ocean drying up, Mount Meru moving, or the sun falling down. I cannot tolerate Drona's downfall. He restrained the proud and protected those who followed Dharma. The scorcher of enemies was prepared to give up his life to attain the objective of my wicked and evil sons. Their victory depended on his valor. He was the equal of Brihaspati and Ushanas in his intelligence. How could he have been killed? His large Saindava horses were crimson. They were garlanded in gold. They were fleet as the wind and were yoked to his chariot. They were beyond the reach of all sounds of battle. They were powerful and neighed loudly, neighed in joy. Those Saindavas, horses, were controlled and were trained in bearing. They were firm in the midst of battle and never suffered from distress or exhaustion. They withstood the trumpeting of elephants in battle with the sound of conch shells and drums. They tolerated the twanging of bowstrings and the shower of arrows and weapons. They had conquered their breathing and had conquered pain, and they assured victory over the enemy. Those fleet horses quickly bore the chariot of Bharadwaja's son. How could they be overpowered? They were yoked to a golden chariot and controlled by the foremost of men. Across the Pandava army, he was mounted on a supreme chariot decorated with pure gold. What feats did Bharadwaja's brave son not accomplish in war? He made warriors weep. All the archers in the world depended on his knowledge. Drona was devoted to the truth. He was powerful. What did he accomplish in battle? He was foremost among all the great ones who wielded the bow, like Shakra in heaven. He was the performer of terrible deeds, with which Rattas countered him in battle. On seeing the one on the golden chariot, did the Pandavas run away? Unleashing divine weapons, did he destroy that inexhaustible army? Or did Dharmaraja, together with his younger brothers and with Panchala as the harness, surround Drona from every direction with all their soldiers? Did Partha restrain the Rattas with his arrows? Parshata, the performer of evil deeds, must have assailed Drona then, when with the exception of Dhristadyumna, protected by the terrible Kiriti, I do not see anyone capable of killing the vigorous one. When the Kekayas, the Chedis, the Karushas, and the other kings surrounded and agitated the brave preceptor, while he was performing a difficult deed, like ants against a serpent, the wicked Panchala must have killed him then. That is my view. He studied the four Vedas and the fifth one about the accounts. He was the refuge of the Brahmanas, like the ocean is of the rivers. How could that aged and powerful Brahmana have been killed through a weapon? He was intolerant and proud, though he often suffered on my account, though he did not deserve it. He reaped the fruits of his action through Kaunteya. All the wielders of the bow on earth depended on his deeds for their livelihood. He was devoted to the truth. He performed good deeds. How could he have been killed by those who desire prosperity? He was foremost. He was great-spirited and extremely strong, like Shakra in heaven. How could he have been killed by the Parters, like a whale by smaller fish? He was dexterous in the use of his hands. He was powerful. He was firm in wielding the bow. He was the destroyer of enemies. No one wishing to remain alive faced him on the field and remained alive. As long as he was alive, the sounds never left him. The sound of the Brahman by those who desired the Vedas, and the sound of the bowstring by those who wielded the bow. He cannot tolerate, I cannot tolerate Drona being killed in battle. He was like the lion and the elephant in his valor. O Sanjaya, he was invincible. The fame of his strength was never assailed. Who protected the great souled one on the right flank and on the left? when he fought in the battle, which brave one was in the front of him? Who were the brave ones who confronted him and gave up their lives, traversing the path of death? Who were the brave ones who faced Drona in battle and attained the supreme objective? O Sanjaya, even if one faces great hardship, one must do one's duty in accordance with one's valor and one's capacity. All of this was established in him. My mind is distracted. O son, let us stop for some time. O Sanjaya, I will ask you again after I have regained my senses. That's a good place to leave it.
Wow. Okay, I'll stop the recording then.